All right, going to call the regular meeting of council order for Monday, July 7th. Before approval of the agenda, I'd like to add the late report and costing associated with portable restrooms. If I can get a seconder for adding. Councillor Julik, any discussion in regards to adding it as a late report? Call the question for adding it. All in favor? Carried. Assuming carried. Okay, and we'll have that one there as 9.7, and scheduled meetings will be 9.8. I'll take approval of the amended agenda. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move that the July 7th, 2025 regular council meeting agenda be adopted as amended.
Seconder, Councilor Julik. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of minutes, June 3rd, 2025 regular council meeting minutes. Councilor Dussault.
Where am I here? That the June 3rd, 2025 regular council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Norbury. Any errors or omissions from council? Staff?
No.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Take adoption of the June 9th, 2025 special council meeting minutes. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That the June 9th, 2025 special council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Bertrand. Any errors or omissions from council? Staff?
No.
Thank you. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. June 17th, 2025 special council meeting minutes. Or 13th, sorry. Yeah, that's where I started. Thank you. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That the June 13th, 2025 special council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Seconder, Councilor Dussault. Any errors or omissions from council? Staff?
No.
Thank you. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. June 17th, 2025 special council meeting minutes. Councilor Dussault.
That the June 17th, 2025 special council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Bertrand. Any errors or omissions from council? Staff?
No.
Thank you. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. June 30th, 2025 special meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That the June 30th, 2025 special meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Bertrand. Any errors or omissions from council? Staff?
No.
Thank you. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes from council? Staff?
No.
Thank you. On to consent agenda. Take the recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That all items in the July 7th, 2025 consent agenda be moved for information.
Seconder, Councilor Julik. All in favor? Carried. Are there any items that council would like to bring forward for discussion? Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. Kakalka, 7.4 for discussion, please.
Seconder, Councilor Bertrand. All in favor? Carried. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So we do have something in front of us from the Ministerial Association. And I think for myself, it brings up a good point. Not so much just in particular about Christian places of worship, but places of worship and spirituality in general. I'm firmly of the belief that individuals need to exercise different aspects of their lives, whether it be their physical body, their brain, but I also believe that individuals need to have a outlet and a way to exercise their spiritual side. So I'd be in support of us adding a section to our website that can be inclusionary of all types of spirituality. I say spirituality because it's not just organized religion that we should be representing, because that's not reflective of our society. But I would like to see something that we can show people that we do have things for them here, at least for information. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Julik.
I'm just wondering if we have something at all on our website so far as our various places of worship.
Ms. Scott.
No, we currently do not on our website.
Thank you. Myself off. Any other discussion? I have a couple questions. Are they not on our business directory? Ms. Scott?
No, they are not.
They're not. Thank you. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakaka. So I'd like to move that staff add a section to the District of Tumbler Ridge websites for places of spiritual devotion and religious organizations to our website, which would include regular service times, with all denominations be given the same access.
Seconder. Councilor Bertrand. Discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councilor Julick's opposed. Mayor Kakaka's opposed. Motion carries. 2, 3, 4. Yep. Any other items council like to bring forward for discussion? Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakaka. 7.9 for discussion, please.
Seconder. Councilor Bertrand. All in favor? Carried. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Councilor Dussault?
I need to recuse myself as I sit on the board of the Forever Young Society.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakaka. So I know we got an email about this a little earlier today, that there are actually 2 sheds in the property. Can staff comment on the condition of the sheds on that property?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go to staff, but I know I asked this question during my agenda review. My understanding is they're not in a position to be able to move. They're not in good stabilization, but that's my understanding when I did my agenda review. Ms. Scott?
The large shed that they were inquiring about has since been demolished. It was in such bad shape that a staff member touched the wall, the other walls fell in. So the large shed that they were asking about has been demolished, was not in good enough shape to move. The smaller second shed, which is not one that they've indicated an interest in, but staff is still assessing the condition of the smaller shed.
Thank you. Councilor Murray, follow up.
I need to think of that one, Mayor. I mean, definitely want to help them out. If we're not using it, I like to assist organizations where we can to assist them in their operations. But yeah, I'm not too sure to go with this one until we get information about the shed to have a discussion about that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion in regards to that? Ms. Scott, I'm assuming if they've been in contact with staff in regards to the one shed that they were hoping for, which sounded like it was the larger shed, that if this other shed is sound, that staff would just reach out to Forever Young Society?
Yes, once we've completed our assessment, if we've determined that it could be salvageable or usable, then we would reach out to Forever Young to see if they were interested in that shed, yes.
Okay, thank you. Did somebody want to go to Councilor Dussault, please? Okay, are there any other items council would like to bring forward for discussion? Council Norbury?
I got excited about the correspondence.
There you go.
I'd like to bring up 7.15 for discussion, please, Mayor.
Seconder, Councilor Dussault, all in favor? Carried. Council Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So this one piqued my interest from the Battered Women's Support Services. This is something I definitely want to lend our voices to. It's definitely something that may not be always in the public eye, but it definitely happens in our community, more so than you would think, especially in times of economic stress. So I'd like to hear more about how we can aid our voice to this cause. And this is what this letter is asking us. Do you want to get more involved? Reach out and we'll talk about it. So I would like to do that. So I'd like to make the motion for staff to reach out to Angela of the Battered Women's Support Services to facilitate a meeting on how we can get involved in their initiative.
Okay, seconder, Councilor Dussault, discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Are there any other items council like to bring forward for Discussion. I'd like to bring forward 7.14 for discussion. Can I get a seconder? Councilor Norbury, all in favor? Carried. Just wanted to actually bring it to light that the date has changed. So previously, it was going to be for July 16th, but just due to weather and such, it has pushed back the lower paving of the parking lot at the community center. My understanding is this should be close to, after completion, they should have it completed, so this is kind of, that's where they were planning it, so that's why they've pushed it back. So it is now July 28th from 12 to 2. So I think it's just important to, for council, if council wants to attend, but make sure it's out there. I know staff's already advertising it, but I think we should definitely have a conversation just because it was on our wickets last week. Okay, any other items council would like to bring forward for discussion? Okay. Moving on to bylaws, fees and charges for services and information amendment, bylaw number 754, 2025. Report dated July 7th, 2025 from the Director of Corporate Services regarding the fees and charges for services and information amendment, bylaw number 754, 2025. Councilor Norbury, Councilor Julich.
The council adopts the fees and charges for services and information amendment bylaw number 754, 2025.
Thanks, Councilor Julich. Seconder? Councilor Bertrand, discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Okay, moving on to 9.1, 2025 Women's Golf Week. Report dated July 7th, 2025 from the Facilities Manager regarding the 2025 Women's Golf Week. Recommendation, please. Councilor Julich.
The council receives this report for information.
Okay, before I get a seconder, was there anybody that was going to want to discuss it so we don't have to go back? So I'll be honest, I want to discuss it. But, so if we can just, you're okay with that? Okay, so I'll make a motion that the council receives this for discussion. If I can get a seconder, Councilor Bertrand. All in favor? Got you in my head, buddy. Carried. Just want to make a couple comments. And first off, I want to thank staff for capturing it. I think it was great that we've seen this in regards to when we did it. And we did it for the whole week. And we did it for all ladies and women. My thing is I will be bringing a notice of motion forward at one of the upcoming meetings. I think this is something that we can do on a yearly basis, but also advertise it, not just for the DTR, but advertise it in the region. This is something other golf courses have not picked up. When I see that how many people use it, I think it definitely, I was surprised at how many new golfers it brought out, and I think that's the whole goal, is to increase that capture of new people wanting to try it. Sometimes maybe it's not in their budget to be able to pay full price to go golfing, but when they're able to capture it at a discount for that week, I think it was huge. I was surprised on the amount. One thing I did ask Ms. Scott in regards to not capturing children and youth, and they say it's because there's a free program, and I understand it's being subsidized by another organization or another company, but to me, we should be still capturing that number because they would have paid 50% of that youth or children, because if there were females, those should have been captured, whether that's being paid for by another company. We should have had those numbers because they should have been charged 50% as well, even though it was this companies may be paying for the whole fee. It should have been at 50%. It would have been neat to see the youth and children. So I'm not sure if staff was going to be able to capture it, but I did ask if they did have the numbers, if you could just send them to us in an email. Any other discussion in regards to it? Councillor Bertrand.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to thank staff for this information. I absolutely love getting statistics like this, especially so soon after the fact. And again, to reiterate Mayor Kukalka's words about seeing the 26 new golfers, that's the whole point of this initiative. So I would definitely be in favor of a yearly process on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion by council? Okay, moving on to the golf course equipment inspection. Report dated July 7th, 2025 from the Facilities Manager regarding the golf course equipment inspection. Recommendation. Councilor Bertrand.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move for information, please.
Seconder, Counselor Julick. Discussion? My comments just would be, is there a plan being put in place by staff in regards to some of the stuff that has been inspected, and it looks like to me that it's past its life expectancy? And I know we have a new proponent inside the restaurant. Scott?
It'll be part of our discussions for 2026 budget.
Perfect, thank you. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Federation of Canadian Municipalities Conference Panel Destination Canada, report dated July 7th, 2025, from the Director of Economic and Community Development regarding the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Conference Panel Destination Canada. Recommendation? Councillor Gisso?
That council receive this report for information.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Julick, all in favor? Or discussion, sorry. My bad. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to discuss. I just want to say thank you again to Ms. Olson for doing this. It was absolutely fabulous, putting Tumbler Ridge on the map. And yeah, thank you. Well done.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. 9.4, participation in the BC Electric Kick Scooter Pilot Project, report dated July 7th, 2025, from the Director of Economic and Community Development regarding participation in the BC Electric Kick Scooter Pilot Project. Recommendation, please. Councillor Julick.
That the District of Tumbler Ridge consents to the Electric Kick Scooter Pilot Project, BC registration 247/2023, taking place within the District of Tumbler Ridge.
Seconder, Councillor Norbury. Discussion? Councillor Bertrand.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. I do like this idea of this pilot project. It's a great idea and a great option to get around town affordably. I do have some concerns as far as the safety aspect of it. And within this pilot project, from what I understand, the RCMP would be responsible for enforcement of the rules. Specifically helmets, and I believe it said children under the age of 16 aren't allowed. So I am aware that there are a few students or children, sorry, that are under 16 that do have them. So I'm just wondering, as far as enforcement goes, I know we don't really enforce bike helmets within our community, so these things go a lot faster than a pedal bike. So given our recent events, I'm definitely a little bit concerned as far as enforcement goes.
Okay, Ms. Scott, concept in regards to enforcement?
Councillor Bertrand is correct that at the beginning of this pilot project, the electric scooters are regulated under the Motor Vehicle Act, and there might also be a specific Electric Scooter Act. So the RCMP would be in charge of enforcement in the beginning until we had the chance to update our bylaws as well. And then bylaw can assist with enforcement after our bylaws take into consideration our specific needs and requirements.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion from council? Councillor Julick?
If we say, yeah, we want to be part of it, what I understood when I was reading it is we can basically pull out whenever we want of the project. Am I correct in that?
Ms. Scott?
I don't have that at my fingertips, but I know that the Director of Economic and Community Development has been involved in researching some of this information, so I will ask her if she can provide the answer to that question.
Thank you, Ms. Scott, Mayor and Council. I don't know if there's anything specific on there about exiting the program, but because it's a pilot, I think that would be the case, is that we would just end it. Just to add on as well, it doesn't require a bylaw to be created right off the bat. So considering where we are in the summer already in discussions with our Director of Protective Services, we feel that, you know, we'll only have a couple of months to pilot it this year, and then that gives us the whole off-season to see how that time went and what changes might need to actually go into bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Follow-up, Councillor Julik.
I guess my next question would be, like, so if it's part of the Highways or Road Act, whatever that act is that would cover it, is this something that we might want to reach out to the RCMP and get their thoughts on before we committed?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Have we contacted the local detachment to get their sense on it as well? You know, right now, I know, you know, that's another added mandate for them. It's under the Motor Vehicle Act, but yeah, that was gonna be my question. Have we contacted the RCMP at all? Ms. Scott?
I don't believe so, but again, I know the Director of Economic and Community Development has been working on that, so I will ask if she can provide that.
Thank you. So I did reach out at the end of last week to the Director of Protective Services, and he was going to make contact with the RCMP. So I'm not sure if that has happened yet or will be happening soon.
Okay. Follow-up, Councillor Julik?
I'm actually ready to defer it until we have the opportunity to talk to the RCMP, but I can wait as I see there's another councillor waiting to speak.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kikaka. You know, I'm in favor of this pilot project. I mean, I don't see the harm in reaching out to the RCMP, but this is coming from the government of British Columbia. So I believe they're the umbrella organization that dictates down to the RCMP, right? Like it's, you know, the RCMP may have had their opportunity to speak about it, but, you know, the RCMP's role is enforcement, not, you know, policy development or whatever. So I'm still in favor of it. Yeah, there's concerns. I can recognize that. The electric kick scooter is different than the regular scooter. I mean, we still have regular scooters going on that are allowed to have lower ages, but this is just specifically for that 50 kilometer an hour and up scooter. So, I mean, it's good to see that we're having some regulations come around it. I think it's important for us to continue to be a part of ongoing trends, not stifle them. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, and I don't disagree with some of Councillor Norbury's comments that the RCMP don't set policy, but my concern is when we see a pilot project like this in front of us, it would be no different than when we talked about, you know, we've been working on it for multiple years, and that's in regards to using road access for ATV to leave the community. They're one of our first engagements. And the reason that is, to me, is, yeah, they don't make the policy or make these decisions, but do they have enough manpower to be able to police this in a proper manner throughout the week? That would be my concern. Councillor Bertrand brought it forward in regards to helmets. Are they gonna, you know, like, you're talking 50 kilometers an hour. I mean, I'm assuming the mandate is helmets, but how does it be enforced? And do they have the manpower? Are we adding something that puts a big strain on an outside agent that's compared from the district side without having a bylaw in place where we can also assist with bylaw? You know, listening to staff when they say, well, you know, there's a couple of months of summer left, gives us the winter not to look at a bylaw where we can maybe put different stipulations in. That would be my only concern. Are we gonna max out the manpower through the RCMP? And maybe, you know, again, is that supposed to be my concern if they have enough manpower to police this? Probably not, but I do believe when they come in, we're always here about supporting them and our engagement with our local detachment, with all of our emergency services. So I think it's really important to have that engagement. So that would be my only concern. You know, it's not that I'm not against it. I think, you know, anytime we get an opportunity for a pilot project, I mean, we've been trying for other ones. That was one of them was a golf cart. You know, we tried to jump on that pilot program and we weren't able to, but you know, I think some of these pilot projects are great ideas. So it gives you another way to get around the community and gives people out there and exercise or at least enjoy the outdoors with it. But that'd be my only concern. Are we putting more pressure on a outside agency to try and govern it on our behalf as we approve a pilot project? Councillor Noxena.
Thank you. I'm in favor of operating the pilot project. I see in the second paragraph in the background, it says that this is a local entrepreneur who wants to jump on board and operate a business here in our community. I understand the concerns of the RCMP. However, they're already policing electric bikes and things in our community, and I haven't heard any complaints or any concerns there. Working with someone local means that we can maybe mandate things like speed areas, things like that. We're not talking about a corporation coming in and running a massive program. This is piloted by the province, it says until 28. So it's a great way to jump on board and have this available for our community. Not only the residents, visitors can take advantage as well. If we were to defer this, we won't get it back in front of us until August. The summer's over, and I would fear that this local entrepreneur won't be around at that point to try to pilot this with very, very few profitable days left in the season.
Thank you. Councillor Bertrand?
Thank you, Mayor. I did read within the pilot project that the scooters were going to be limited to 25 kilometers an hour. So even if they have a capability of 50K, they would be limited to 25. And I did look up some other programs and bylaws, and province of Ontario has limited through bylaw to 24 kilometers an hour. Not exactly sure why, but that's pretty much my biggest concern. Like currently we have electric bikes on our trails and on our shoulders of our roads, but this pilot project would be, from what I understand, going down the middle of the road. So it's not, it's certainly a little bit different to what we have currently, which again opens up more possibilities of accidents there. So I would have appreciated some input from our local RCMP, but again, it is a BC pilot project, so I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think it's necessary to defer this motion until we speak to them, but it would be nice to get their input on it.
Okay, Councillor Julik?
So as we're talking about speeds, I live on the upper bench, and I have a really big hill to come down. And I would question whether or not those scooters would stay at 25 kilometers while coming down. Okay, so then, yeah. And, you know, I'm hearing the other side of the argument. I think that we could do scooters into October depending on where our snowfall goes. So I'm not quite as concerned about the July thing. Has there been something that's kept this from coming to council prior to July?
Yeah, that I'm not aware of. I mean, I'll be honest, I mean, I have some concerns, and before I go to Councillor Norby, I mean, I have concerns with it as well. I mean, I think Councillor Bertrand mentioned it. I'm not sure if I'd be in favor. I mean, I know there's no motion on the floor to defer. Like, I'm fine proceeding. I just think we need to make that connection with our local attachment. You know, I've read the background and everything, so there was, to me, I was not about deferring it, but I think, you know, we just got to do, you know, the proper engagement. We always ask for that side to engage with us. I think we just got to do the same thing. And it might have already happened. You know, staff's just not aware. It might have already happened. I mean, it could have happened. We just don't have that information. So like, my concern would be, again, just making sure that they are aware that, you know, whether this passes or don't. I guess depends if it passes, that they're definitely engaged with to understand that this is what we're going to pilot and we're going to try it, or if it passes. But yeah, I wasn't in favor of deference. To make sure that was well known. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. You know, when we look at this type of vehicle, I guess, to call it that, you know, bikes need to be on the road as well, right? You're not supposed to ride your bike on a sidewalk or a walking path. It is a vehicle. So, and I know that's something that's not really known in this community, but it is something that should be done. And I think this is, if something's going 25 kilometers an hour, I think it's a good idea that it be on the road. And if we're concerned about enforcement, I fully agree. We should reach out to the RCMP and just, you know, maybe give them a nudge that maybe it's time to start giving some warnings about helmet laws. I wear my helmet wherever I go, because you know, a fall could definitely hurt you. I've known people who've had brain injury from bicycle accidents. But again, I think that concern could be resolved through a conversation with the RCMP. That'd be my thoughts. Thanks.
Yep. Nope. Thank you for that. Any other discussion? Okay, the motion on the floor is that the District of Sunbury consents to the electric kick scooter pilot project. BC Reg 24-7-2023 taking place within the district of Tumbler Ridge. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakaka. I think some of the comments from councilors were valid, so I'd like to explore if we need a motion for staff to reach out to the RCMP to, let them know that this is coming into effect, and if they need any support from us to help in this transition.
Yeah, I don't know if they need a motion. I'll ask Ms. Scott, but I mean, I know they've already been, they've initiated it, whether it might have already happened, we're not aware. Ms. Scott?
Chief Curry has indicated that he has already engaged with and is working with RCMP.
Good, thank you. No motion needed. Perfect. Thank you, and thanks for staff for that. I mean, it's tough when they're not here. Community Center Children's Summer Camp, report dated July 7th, 2025, from the manager of Recreation regarding the Community Center's Children's Summer Camp. Ooh, tongue twister. Recommendation? Councillor Dussault?
That council approves staff to offer 1 week of extended hours, July 28th to August 1st, for children's summer camp at the community center when the YMCA is closed and the Tumbler Ridge Museum Foundation is not offering children's summer camp.
Seconder? Councillor Norbury? Discussion? Did you have one? Okay, Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to say great job to staff for catching this. This is one of those things that just pop, when you're in the community, everyone pops up and says, oh, it'd be great if this happened. And we kind of missed it, but staff didn't miss it this time. They saw it and they recognized an opportunity for, to give more to the community. I think it's a great initiative. Good job. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Call the question on the motion. All in oh, sorry. Councillor Noxana. Sorry. Forgot you're up there.
Thank you. I appreciate that this is coming forward in the week that YMCA and the museum summer camp is closed. But I would like to see that this has a cost to parents. If they're attending a full-time scheduled program, there should be a cost to parents for that care.
Did you want to make an amendment?
Sure. I would amend that there should be a cost to at minimum to cover the cost incurred by the district, the extra cost incurred by the district during this week of extended care.
Seconder on the amendment. Councillor Julich. Discussion on the amendment. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakaka. My only comment would be, I'm not against raising the cost. Question I have is, are the fees currently reflective to be cost neutral? I don't want to say, the reason why is I don't want to see like the cost go from $10 a day to $35 a day, because now we're going for a cost neutrality versus whatever the cost was. Thank you.
Yeah. I guess Ms. Scott charged that we charged now for our summer camp compared to what we would have to for this one?
I believe our summer camps are free.
Yep, that's what I thought too. Like right now, the summer camp we run is run as a no cost, and we limited the hours this year. I believe it's 4 hours. I could be wrong, but we did push back the hours of operation for that camp. So, I guess to me, I think we would. I don't want to amend. I think we. My personal opinion would be that we vote this amendment down and do a different amendment with an actual price if we want to put a price to it. For us to tell the staff to recover that. Are we looking to recover $1,800, Councillor Noxana? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I would assume, or my preference would be that we cover the $1,800 if that's what it's going to cost above and beyond that week to offer extended care. It should be put back on the parents then to pay that. So if we're allowed to have 18 kids, it's 10, I don't know what we're licensed for during summer camp, but that's divided by the amount of participants that we are allowed to have that day or that week.
Yeah. Okay. Before I go to Councillor Julich, Ms. Scott, do you know the number we allow in the summer camps?
No, I don't have that information handy.
Okay. Councillor Julich.
So I have a couple of questions. One of them is, have parents reached out to us to ask us to extend our hours for that time? And and it's not really a question, it's more of a comment that I'm more comfortable in, we offer 1 week of extended hours and then, like, alternative to the recommendation, I'm more in favor of to combat the cost part, but I would like to know if we've actually had any interest from parents asking for us to have a space when those other places are closed.
Ms. Scott?
Again, I don't have that information.
Thanks. What I've heard around was staff realized that, you know, my understanding is they realized, oh geez, these people the YMCA was gonna be closed this week, museum wasn't running theirs, hey, we need to jump on it, is what I kinda heard from a parent. So I think staff just took, you know, I mean, I think, you know, again, they seen that there was gonna be a gap there, tried to jump on it, trying to fill it up from themselves. So yeah, I'm a little confused, to be honest, like if we don't even know how many children, we are able to take for the camp, I mean, Ms. Scott, would you need like a 5-minute recess to get this number? And I understand that staff was unable to attend from the community center, but,
I can try and get that information.
okay, let's just take a 5-minute recess. Call this meeting back to order. Ms. Scott, were we able to get the number of children that or the amount of children's spots we have open for the summer camp?
We can accommodate up to 40 children.
40, thank you. Okay, any other questions? Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So I'm going to be voting against the amendment. It is a free program. I could recognize that it'll cost us additional $1,800, but, you know, the purpose for me for this is not revenue neutrality. It's offering a service to the public. Yeah, I think we have a lot of questions that would need to be answered. We can accept up to 40 children, but are we going to split that across the attending children? Will that be affected on a scale? So, for example, we have 10 children now. Parents have to foot the bill for that. I think it's a tough one. Again, I'm not looking to generate revenue or be neutral on this one. This is a service. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Julik.
I'm going to be voting against the amendment and the amended motion or the not amended motion. I like the alternative to the recommendation that we just lose one of the weeks. That way we cover all of the financial implications without making any adjustments. If we, in my thought here, process here tonight is that if we approve it with the additional costs, we don't know if we would recover it because we wouldn't know how many kids would be signing up for it. Like, it just feels like a bit of a math marathon. I can appreciate wanting to cover when the other organizations are not able to have those services. They are available for the end of August, the last week that we wouldn't be offering it. So we're not leaving anybody in the dust, I guess I would say. Anyways, that's why I'm more, I lean more towards alternative number one.
Thank you. Any more discussion on the amendment? Did staff capture the amendment, if they could just read it out? I didn't capture it. Councillor Noxana, can you read your amendment back out, please?
I didn't write it down, but it was that the extra cost for the $1,800 is charged back to the parents so that the district is cost neutral on offering extended care.
Okay, thank you. Okay, no more discussion. I'm going to call the question on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment? Opposed? Councillor Bertrand, Councillor Dussault, Councillor Julik, Councillor Norbury, and Mayor Kuchalka opposed. The amendment is defeated. Any discussion in regards to the motion that is on the floor? And the motion that's on the floor is the council approves staff to offer 1 week of extended hours, July 28th to August 1st, for children's summer camp at the community center when the YMCA is closed and the Tumbleridge Museum Foundation is not offering their children's summer camp. Any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Noxana, Councillor Dussault, Councillor Julik, Mayor Kuchalka opposed. The motion is defeated. Anything else the council would like to move forward on? Councillor Julik.
The council authorizes staff to offer 1 week of extended hours for children's summer camp at the community center when the YMCA is closed July 28th to August 1st, and the Tumbler Ridge Museum Foundation is not offering children's summer camp, and reduce the overall camp to a 7-week program to eliminate any financial implications.
Seconder. Councillor Bertrand. Discussion. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kuchalka. At this point in time, I'd prefer to see an 8-week program. This is something that we offer for families throughout the entirety of the summer, and it kind of feels like robbing Peter to pay Paul to take away the last week of this program. I think it's fine if we just don't offer 8 for the extra 2.5 hours, if that's what we've decided. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Yeah, I won't support the motion on the floor. My comment would be just to leave our camps at the reduced hours instead of increasing the hours for those 3 days. Then we're still offering the camp for the same amount of weeks that we'd already approved. Okay, going to call the question on the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Dussault, Councillor Noxana, Councillor Norbury, Mayor Kuchalka is opposed. Motion is defeated. Anything else, Councillor, would like to do? Okay, I'll put the alternative number 2 on the floor. The council does not authorize any extended hours, and the summer camp will continue to operate only on a 4-hour day. Seconder. Councillor Dussault. Discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Norbury is opposed. Motion carries. Tumbler Ridge Curling Club lease renewal. Report dated July 7th, 2025 from the facilities manager regarding Tumbler Ridge Curling Club lease renewal. Take the recommendation, please. Councillor Julik.
The council directs staff to negotiate a new lease agreement with the Tumbler Ridge Curling Club with the agreement to come back to council for approval.
Seconder. Counselor Dussault, discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Okay, 9.7 is the costing associated with the portable restrooms. Report from staff from a notice of motion from Councilor Norbury. Recommendation, Councilor Julik.
The council does not approve the request to provide porta potties to the Tumbler Ridge Saddle Club for the 2025 summer season.
Seconder, Councilor Bertrand. Discussion, Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kiaka. Thank you, staff, for getting this back to us so quickly. I think it gives us a little more information about what seems like a very simple request has a $12,000 price tag attached to it. I think on the surface, I definitely want to assist the Saddle Club, but realistically, staff provides a good report here saying why they advise against it. So I'd be supportive of staff's recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Okay, schedule of meetings. Sorry, I just gotta get my- Anything from council in regards to scheduling meetings, as I find my sheets? Okay, so just so council's aware, Pemmican Days is this upcoming weekend. Okay. Anything from staff, Ms. Scott?
No.
Thank you. Okay. Any notice of motion? Okay, councilor business, thanks, Councilor Norbury. Anything for councilor business from the floor? Councilor Julik.
I'd just like to apologize to the folks out there and council and staff in the room. I thought I had sent out my meeting reports, but I have not. And as it looks, you'll probably get 3 for the month of August. So I would like to mention, though, before I do the report, that the museum did have their AGM and they have a new board. The president and vice president are still the same. They do have a new secretary. And it was well attended and lots of stuff still going on that's good. And yeah, so I will have those written up and apologize again. I'll double check to make sure that they're sent.
Thank you. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kiaka. I just wanted to comment on the health conference that was here this last weekend. Speaking with the event organizers and attending parts of the event, it was incredibly well attended. There's over 90 people to this conference, 25 residents were there. So it was an amazing success showcasing our community. One of the recruitment and retention committee I'm a part of for the region spoke very highly of this event as a recruitment and retention tool. Gives people an opportunity to grow professionally. They did an outstanding job. Speaking with the event organizers, they're a little concerned about how many they had because it was hard to accommodate 90 people and their families. And we had 20 children sign up for Dino Camp. That shows that people from are interested in bringing their families as well. I mean, that's where we really get the people come, is when they can create that social connection with communities. It's amazing success. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the floor? Yep, got her. Yep, got her. Thank you. Councilor Dussault.
Yes, sorry for the lateness on my reports. I did get those out yesterday. I also went to Keeping It Rural with Mayor Krakauka. That was a couple of days of a lot of information. And yeah, I'll let him touch base on that.
I was expecting that from you. Councilor Noxana.
Thank you. I was able to take in a few of the events at the doctor's conference this past weekend. They ended up with 30 residents was the final count, which is absolutely insane. Super, super well attended and really well put on. We had a doctor who locums in Inuvik staying with us for the weekend and attending the conference, and she said the speakers were very powerful, very moving. She's towards the end of her career, so she was super inspired to see all the residents there taking in really important information. And the community of Tumbler Ridge showcasing rural medicine and the value that doctors can have coming to rural places and providing quality care and the opportunities that are out there for doctors. I was able to attend Indigenous Peoples Day that hosted by the Geopark, and I would say it is definitely the best one that I have attended since moving to BC in 2014. There was a fella there doing hoop dancing and got people involved and was happy to have kids come help, and some drumming and a workshop on making medicine pouches. So kudos to the Geopark and the community members that came out to celebrate Indigenous culture. It was really, really great to see. Tora had a meeting, I don't know, maybe last week, recently, and they're busy rolling into the summer season with working with the sledding Tumbler Ridge Riders to do their FMX show here in town in August. Also working with WNMS to host Emperor's Challenge. This is the 25th year, and they, as of today, I think 719 participants, which is well above anything we've had since COVID, which is really, really great to see. The chainsaw and first aid courses happened and was very informative for all the participants, and they got a lot out of it. So it'll be great to see these people getting out on the trails now and helping maintain the infrastructure that we have. There was a note, there's been some videos circulating about a jet boater jumping falls, and while that's not illegal, there is concern that if something goes wrong or if more people follow suit and something goes wrong, it uses precious resources for search and rescue volunteers or even helicopters, aviation, who are actively fighting fires in other parts of the province, having to come in and help them out. So just hoping that we can discourage people from doing things like that right now. A note came out of the meeting that they're hopeful that the district can do better with sharing our information on social media when we do a post. Specifically, this is about the conserving water after the apartment fire. And this isn't specific to Troy, it was just came from one of the presidents of a club. That if we have a post like that, if it could be shared to more pages, it would be great, because it'll have a wider outreach, and everybody's sort of stumped at how the best way to reach the most participants is. I think that's all I have at this exact second.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from council from the floor? Okay, I have a lot, so I'll just probably mention a few and maybe bring some more from the next one. But North Winds Wellness Center did the breaking ground ceremony with Councillor Norbury, attended as well. Job well done. Minister of Osborne was supposed to be in attendance, but due to the measles outbreak in the north, she has postponed her trip. She will still be coming to the north, but she did postpone it just out of respect, because when she did travel, she was going to be traveling and visiting every hospital. So she was just trying to respect the nursing staff that worked there, so she decided to postpone the trip. But they did an awesome job. We had Indigenous representation, from Soto in that area. So they did the prayer and some great speeches. But yeah, it was hats off to that organization and Poughkeepsie for hosting it. It was well attended through the PRD as well. Indigenous Days, job well done by the Geopark, attended that as well. Yeah, there was tons of people over there. I thank Councillor Norbury and Councillor Noxana for joining me in hoop dancing, and we did the Eagle. So I want to thank you both for that. I appreciate that to get up there and do that. I think it was great to participate with both of you, so thank you for that. Obviously, we thanked him too for working with us. Some of us needed more help than the others, but that was great day. Well organized, great event. They did have a food truck there. It was amazing. Bit of a wait, but it was well worth the wait. Well worth that wait for sure, because definitely good food. Did meet with the minister, well, I didn't meet with minister, Ministry of Transportation regional staff, so one representative out of Dawes Creek and out of Fort St. John with Ms. Scott last week. Yeah, last week. We just talked about everything, so we definitely talked about the roller coasters, the whip-de-doos, whatever you want to call it, on Highway 52 North. They have started doing the monitoring in regards to geotech. So I'm not sure, I know Ms. Scott had mentioned in the meeting as well, when she came back, they have started that. Like, you know, I've asked for them to look at some way of doing some kind of a media announcement that they're, you know, they've heard it loud and clear. They know it well about it, but there's lots of stages and process they have to go through. Like, this isn't just because they're doing that, we're going to see that repaired in a year or two, maybe not 5, maybe not 20, maybe, who knows. Being honest with you, there's a 450 meters area that is actually still sliding. Like, they're not going to throw good money at bad, it's pretty much, and that's good, that's our tax dollars. But they're well aware, they're starting to do the monitoring, they're starting to do that access to get some data so that they can look at some of the fixes that they may be able to do along there. We just talked about in regards to the brush clearing that we were able to, you know, push on through the ministry to help get that done, and it got done a couple years ago, but then I brought it back up that, you know, if you keep it up, it takes less money to do it, they can get it done faster, so they're gonna look at that as well. One communication that I think we worked on from our side was making sure that we have that dialogue when we have big asphalt plans, whether it's the DTR is doing it or Highways is looking at doing some asphalt in the areas, that we have those chats and conversations, because we may be able to piggyback off each other, whether they piggyback off us because we're doing a fairly heavy one, or they're doing it and we're doing a smaller version of it. You know, that asphalt company may be close enough to us that it's cost savings. So yeah, I think it was you know, again, hammering the minister is definitely good, going to meet with these ministers, but talking to the staff that actually do the job, I think that's where it is, and you know, we definitely have some good dialogue. There were some things that I was supposed to do from the last meeting that I didn't do, so I told them that we'll make sure we do it. One of them was they do a survey for the road maintenance every year. This year they're going to make it's made a little easier. It's like a 5-question or one pager. I promise we'll have ours in on time and not throwing it to staff is what I did. At the last minute, I passed it off to Ms. Scott, who she had it done by whoever. But it wasn't enough time, and I think I promise we'll be better. One other thing we talked about, and it's been talked about lots, and we were supposed to dialogue with it at a Let's Talk, and it didn't happen, so just have a conversation so we make sure it makes Let's Talk. I've had lots of people, I'm not sure if you guys have or not, but I've had a lot of people approach me like, how come our highway is not 100 kilometers? So we've had that conversation. What does that take? Well, like they said, like, we can start the process, but what happens if 95% of your residents aren't like the 5% of the, you know, the mayor and the elected officials that want it at 100? So we talked about making sure that we get that out at a Let's Talk, to have some conversation and feedback from our local residents to make sure that, you know, the push that I'm hearing from some people, I mean, I'm not saying it's the community, there's some people that have talked about it, that I'm not just listening to the 5 or 10 people that are asking for it, that we actually have community support, because it's a lot easier for it to happen if there's community support. So we'll be bringing that to Let's Talk. Medical conference, well done, Dr. Helm and his group. Wow. First one I was able to attend, I'll be honest, first one I've ever attended. I've been on council for 10.5 years. You know, it just seems like the schedules don't line up, and whether it's Pemmican Days or that, it's just the first one I attended, and it was a job well done. I attended both events, all council was invited. I attended the museum. I didn't do the dinners, I just did the meet and greets. I went over to the Trent Conference Center both days. Well attended, met a lot of different people. I met the doctor from BC College. There's a lady, I can't remember her name, hopefully somebody else does. She's the reporter that did the, drove up here in a caravan and when the town was being built. She's doing, again, she's going to be doing a story and they're going to promote it. So I'll be dialoguing with her the next few weeks. She'll give me a shout so we can do the story, but it's quite neat when you realize it. Keep it rural. Yeah. It was good. It was good. I won't say it was good as the previous year. But I thought it was good. It was well attended this year. Definitely from some more participants there. There was this Piercy, the executive director from Central Chilcolton. What they're doing out there is they started taking some of the dead wood and some of the ground wood off the forest floor and making pellets with it. So at first, as they started this process, they couldn't find a place to sell the pellets really. So eventually a mill from Kamloops started taking their pellets. But they were actually trying to get them into Williams Lake. But because they couldn't prove the quality of the pellets and such, that no, it was only chemicals. Well, now they can't get enough pellets to get to Williams Lake for the power plant. So that's how it's increased. And previously, they were moving their chippers around for making pellets and stuff like that around throughout the forest. Now what they're doing is they're bringing the wood to a certain laydown yard and they're bringing the pellet thing there. It's more cost effective. So there was lots of conversations there, and it's an Indigenous owned company. Where else can you transport that to? Can you come to the north? How does that work? So they bought theirs from an organization out of Alberta, so around Grand Prairie, I believe is what he told me. So that was quite interesting. I know the PRD's definitely, they got a pulse on that and looking into that a bit more to see if there's something we can do with our Indigenous neighbors. I know we've logged the hourglass after the fire from last year. They went in there and logged quite a bit. There's still stuff there that could be probably into pellets and stuff. So the other thing they had was a rural health panel. I think we're missing, I think we're doing a great job. Don't take me wrong. I think whether it's this council, the previous council, and the previous council before those, have done a great job in regards to trying to attract and retain healthcare workers, whether that's nurses, doctors, x-ray lab, all that. But one thing we're missing is, and we do have some of it, but I also heard it loud and clear with the education minister, which I'll talk about soon, and that's housing. We need to really get a pulse on that. That is the big thing in all of BC. It's coming down to housing. Housing for education professionals, housing for the medical professionals. Yes, we have an apartment. Agency nurses pretty much use it, but it's for those new doctors, the new RN that may need a house or something like that for, and I know when I sit on the health task force, we're looking at something where, maybe the first 3 months were free. If you needed it longer than that because you were still waiting for the closing of your house to be able to buy another house, and they started paying rent on month 4 or 5. And, I think Dr. Helm's concept was, you don't want to pass 6 or 8 months. You need to get the next person in. So I think we need to really start looking at that concept that, maybe we're missing that here. I know there's an industrial partnership there that will be maybe an announcement. I know I've asked for a meeting with myself and Ms. Scott next week, just to try and see where they're at, and if not, we need to, maybe look through council to see if, there's some of the stuff that we've had discussions in the past that maybe we need to bring those reports back in and get this new council having it. And I've probably said this 4 times already. We need to maybe have council read through that and see where we want to go. But yeah, so I'm going to keep a pulse on that. I had a meeting with Minister of Education via Zoom. She had her deputy minister, her chief of staff, and some other staff members there. I did invite Councillor Noxana to it, as she was the one that brought it forward in regards to the comment that, we're in a crisis. We don't have to wait for the UBCM to meet with ministers or staff, so I did invite her in. I think, listening to what the ministry is doing, and, they're trying to shorten that gap in regards to certification from other countries or other provinces and stuff like that. But again, I think it was probably 10 minutes in, the first thing that came up was housing. Like I asked, that was my question. What else can we do as a community to try and help assist recruitment and retention of education professionals? And one of it was housing that came up again. I know we've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. So, I thought it was a great conversation. I think there's lots to go back on after we get the minutes all drafted up by staff, but I think there's lots of information there to use at the UBCM when we meet with staff from Ministry of Education. So that was one of the ones I picked was for staff because I was going to be having this meeting as per council's motion. So, I think, the big discussion with myself there was like, we're willing to do something as well. Like how can we help out? We are working with our school district. We are doing that. What else can we do? Is there anything that we can do? What are they seeing other municipalities do? Housing came up, so, I did talk about how we do a dinner, during COVID, we kind of got off of that and then we haven't come back, which we'll obviously do in the fall. But just stuff like that, and I think it's really important that we keep a pulse on it. I'm not sure, and I guess we'll have to wait till the school year starts to find out where we are with in regards to education professionals, in regards to teachers and LPs, and what vacancies are there, and maybe there's something else we can, bring School District 59 again up for delegation, or at least a connection, or go down to one of their meetings and meet with them there. We don't have to. It doesn't mean they always have to come here. I think that's about all I got. I do have some more, but I think I just bring it at another meeting, or I'd probably talk for quite a while. There may be a special meeting, and I should have mentioned that during meeting of schedules at the P&P. We might call for a special meeting. We might be looking for a letter of support for, through the Diabetes Remission Committee or group, sitting table, just in regards to what maybe the DTR would offer up as they're trying to get a health coach. So are we looking, would council be comfortable, and, I mean, we've got to wait till the staff receives it, letting them have access for room 1 for like space, possibly some assistance in regards to housing in one of our apartments for a few months until they found someone, if it's an out-of-town candidate. But that'll come forward from staff, I think, after I left the meeting early. I know Ms. Scott stayed, so I think we'll see that come up in August, or sorry, the July P&P. Okay, anything else from council? Questions, concerns? Cool. Any emailed in questions, Ms. Scott?
No.
Thank you. Take a motion for closed, please. Councilor Norbury. Oops, didn't push your button.
That the
sorry.
thank you, Mayor, that the July 7th, 2025 special regular council meeting be closed to the public according to section 91E and J of the Community Charter to permit discussion about 91. The acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements if the council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality. And J, information that is prohibited or information that, if it were presented in a document, would be prohibited from disclosure under Section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act.
Seconder, Councilor Dussault, all in favor? Carried. 5-minute recess.